Alright, let's finish this one off. At least I won't have the distractions of all the happy birthdays in the chat, so that's kind of nice. Appreciate that. Not. Anyway, I haven't actually watched the video, but I don't know how long it took me to notice that the stream had actually gone offline, so I don't really know where we got up to. But a bit of a recap is probably not a bad thing. I want to know the monthly repayments. So before I was told, or I was given, I guess the question kind of asked like how much was left during a certain time period. So like, for instance, this was the example in the first video. It was, in the last lesson. It said, how much do I have after 3 months? And then I went through and did all 3 months and I worked out, so that was my monthly repayment. And I was actually told what my monthly repayment was. And then this one I wasn't, and I went to the table. So the table being this big thing. But in this case, we're trying something different and we're using the mathematics, I guess. So I'm told that over 4 years, that's my loan, and I want to know what the monthly repayment is, given that that's my loan and that's my interest rate. Now the interest rate was per annum, so I changed that to months. Okay, this was always annoying me, so this can go away. Anyway. So what I was doing was I was building a bit of a recurrence relation. A recurrence relation is when you have one thing and then your next line of working relies on the previous thing. That's what a recurrence relation is. So basically I was working my way through this and then I end up with this. So I was basically saying that after the 4 years, there should be no money left on the loan because I would have paid it off. And I was noticing that this was kind of the pattern that was worked out. So A3 had this thing to the power of 3, and then it had 3 terms in here. So the 48th one would have had 48 here and 48 terms in here. So it would have gone from 0 to 47. So that's kind of what I worked out here, or I just rewrote it. And then I set it equal to 0 because after 48 months, there should be no amount on the loan left. I should have paid it off. Then what I did was I moved this over there. So I ended up with this. Then I divided by this, and now I have a value for R. And I was trying to say before, I don't know if that was in the video or not, but I've seen a couple of trial questions. I haven't seen it in HSC, but I've seen trial questions where they say, here's a bunch of stuff, show that, and then they get you to, they say show that this, and that would be like 2 or 3 marks or something. So yeah, if you were given that, then that's nice, because then you can just start with this if you weren't able to show that. But yeah. Then we said, okay, this bottom part is a geometric sequence. It starts at that, and it goes up by this, so that and that. Then I wanted to find the sum. That was 61, so then I put 61 back in here, which is what this is, and I worked out this. I don't know how far we got with that. But in other words, this value here was R, and from back here, R was our monthly repayment. So I've actually worked out our monthly repayment. So we've done it a little bit of a different way, rather than using the table. But what you've got to realize is, if you weren't given a table, then you've got 2 choices. One, you sit here and work out all of them 48 times, or you would do this. And so this is I think the reason this is a common question is because it asks so many things in one. Like the first thing, it's a recurrence relation. It's also compound interest. It's also an equation. It's also a geometric sequence. You have to recognize that it's a geometric sequence, and it's finding the sum of a geometric sequence. So there's a lot involved, and I guess that's why it would be a common question, or why you could expect a question like that. So I've seen it a lot in trials. Okay, let's start with number 2. So Absorb charges 9% for loans, and repayments don't have to be paid till the 4th month. So that's where this question varies. It's basically saying you don't have to pay anything until 4 months. And there's a lot of places that do that. I don't know if you've heard ads on TV where they say Harvey Norman interest-free for like 12 months or something like that. This is just essentially what this is. So it's basically saying you can have this item, you don't have to pay anything for 4 months. Now let's suppose I buy 8 grand worth of furniture, and then I've got 3 years to pay it off. How much am I going to owe after 3 months? Then it's going to ask, what are my monthly repayments? And then how much do I pay altogether? So that's where we're going with this. All right, how much do I owe after 3 months? So I guess what I'm going to have to do here is go through each. Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, this is interesting. I was thinking before, just like literally just then, I'm going to have to go A1, A2, A3, and the reason I have to do that separately is because each of these I have to factor in my monthly repayment. So I have to factor in my monthly repayment for each of those. The last example, that's what I was doing. I was doing my compound interest, I pay something. Compound interest, I pay something. Compound interest, I pay something. Well, in this case, I'm not actually paying anything. I'm not paying anything for the first 3 months. So how much do I owe after the first 3 months? Well, I haven't made any monthly repayments. So this amount on my loan is just being compounding by itself. So I don't actually have to do this 3 times. In fact, this is just compound interest. This is regular compound interest. I'm not paying anything off. So in other words, I've got my amount after 3 months is going to be what I start with, which is $8,000. It's a rate of 9%. So let's just do this. 1 plus, it's 9% divided by 12 because the 9% is per annum. I have, yeah. Okay, and then 3 months. So rather than this being a 1, I could just accumulate this for 3 months. And that should give me, off the top of my head, 1.35. That's how much I owe. So you can see that I started with $8,000 and now I owe a little bit more, which makes sense because I haven't paid anything, but it's been compounding. If you end up with an answer that's less, that doesn't really make any sense. Okay, right. What are my monthly repayments? Now, this is the sucky part. This is where I'm going to have to do what I had before. Now, the good thing is, so if in this case I was given a table, then by all means go straight to the table. But I'm not given a table, which means I'm going to have to work this out manually. Now, well, let's just start with this. So, after the fourth month, I have my third month's earnings, the loan, 1 plus, okay, 9% over 12, let's just keep running like that, 9% over 12, 1 minus my repayments. Okay, now the reason I started with 4 is because I haven't paid anything until the 4th month. So this is all the time that I didn't have to pay anything. Now I've got to start paying stuff, so I've got to start adding my repayments. I've chucked this in there, that's just going to be this. So, okay, keeping with the theme of before, see how I never actually evaluated anything? I'm going to not evaluate anything here as well. So my A3, I'm going to keep calling that, I'm going to use big square brackets, I'm going to call it this. So 8,000, 1 plus 9% on 12. Now that compounded 3 times, so I'm going to put a 3 there. Okay, so this is this. Now I've got to add all that. Okay, 1 plus 9% on 12 minus R, minus my repayment. Was that everything? Okay, let's simplify that. Cool. Is that right? That looks pretty right to me. My notes look weird because I wrote that as an actual number. Alright, A5. Let's keep going. That's going to be the last thing. Then it compounds. Then I repay. A4 has a name. It's all this. 8,000. 1 plus 9% on 12. It's the power of 4. Okay, then that compounds. And then I repay. Alright. 8,000. 1 plus. And we continue. Done all that right. You idiot. I'm missing a minus R. So all of this is all of this. Is that correct? Yes. So that means all I've done was times that by that which means now I've got to times that by that. Ooh, okay, I've missed a step. It's all good. Yeah. Oh, okay. The reason I got confused was because my A3, I thought that looks like this, right? Except there's no repayment on the end because the first 3 months I didn't repay anything, but I do now. Okay, that's why I got confused. Keep track of your working out. 1 plus 9%. Okay, minus R. Now I factorize. I thought I was missing something. That's why I was a little bit hesitant to continue. Minus R outside of 1 plus 9% on 12 plus 1. Yes, okay. A6. Oh my god, this is so much working out. It was A5 and compounds and ROK. A5 was all this junk. I'm only doing this one more time. 5 minus R 1 plus 1. Okay, that's all that. And then I compound it again. And then I make my repayment. Okay, holy moly, now I simplify. It's this times by this, which all that's going to do is make this a 6. 8. Hello, Jackson Simmons and 5 others. 6. Okay, so that was that times that. Now I need this times this. What that's going to do is put a 2 here and a 1 there. Minus R 1 plus 9% on 12. 2 plus 1 plus 9% on 12. 1. Yep, minus R. Now that minus R is going to become a plus 1 when I factorize it out. Let's just write the step, shall we? Look, if you ask something like this in the test, I would expect it would be at least 4 marks. Because it's taking me ages to write this out. And like I said before, this 1 on the end can just be written as 0. Okay, we're good, I think. Alright, so once I've got a few, you just do this until you see the pattern. So I can see the pattern now that because I've got 3 distinct terms. Here I just had kind of this and plus 1. So I do it until I see a pattern. Now, that music's gotten loud. Now I go dot dot dot, well, I don't want to have to work all these out. How many am I going to have to work out? Well, I pay it off after 3 years. How many months is that? That's 36 months. So let's write this, what it would look like if it was A36. 8,000, 1 plus 9% on 12. Now, I'm just following the pattern. There's a 6 here and a 6 here. 36 here, which means this has to be a 36. Now, I want all these terms. So all these terms, there's 3 of them, and this was a 6. So that means there's 3 less than, so like if this is 6, the amount here is 6 minus 3. So to take away 3. So there's 36 here, there's going to be 36 minus 3 of them, which means there's 33 of them. Now, the reason there's 33 and not 1 less like before, so remember here it was, there was 48 terms. The reason there's not 36 terms here is because I didn't pay anything for the first 3 months. So there's actually going to be 3 less than 36, like 3 less than my full thing. So that's going to be 33. It starts at 0, so that means the last term is going to be 32 plus blah 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 plus 0. Emails left, right, center. Okay. Now that I've got my pattern, I know that after 36 months, this loan should have nothing on it. So in other words, that should equal 0. Now what I'm going to do is move that over there, starters. I want actually. I'm going to move this over there, but because I want that to be positive, but I'll just split them. That made any sense what I just said? I'm just trying to get R by itself, that's the whole point. I can't even be bothered writing this again. There we go. And now, R by itself means I've got to divide by this, so it's 8. And while I'm here, you can see that, is that meant to be 36? Yeah. You can see that this denominator is going to be a geometric sequence. Let me write it the opposite way. It starts at 1, which is that term on the left, and this term on that end, 32. Okay. So that's A and that's R. So A equals 1, R equals 1 plus 9% on 12. Okay. Now, the sum of, now how many terms are there? It goes from 0 to 32, so there's 30, this is a common mistake, there's 33 terms, not 32. 1 outside of 1 plus 9. I'm just going to write it. Okay, this comes from, in case you're wondering what that was. Okay, that's approximately equal to, off the top of my head, 37.2849. Okay, I substitute that back into here, and that tells me that therefore R is equal is approximately equal to 280.79. That's my monthly repayment. Ah, we got there. What I want you to get from that is these two examples are identical. They're the same. I did the exact same thing. The only difference was the added difficulty of having to not account for 3 months. So I started it at A4, and instead of there being 36 terms, it's 3 less. So it's the same thing. So if you can follow one of them, then you should be able to follow like the same. It's just, they're just going to be worded differently. That's your only problem. And your last question is, how much do I pay altogether? It's really easy to fall into the trap of, oh, well, I need to think of my interest, well, you're only paying monthly repayments. You're only paying $280.79. They're your monthly repayments. How many do you have? Well, there was 36 months, but you only paid 33 of them. So that's how many times you pay your monthly repayment, 33 times. This is equal to 9266.07. Last thing I want to note is that if you got through all this and didn't get this right, or if you couldn't get through this and you didn't have an answer for this and then you knew how to do this, but you don't have a number here, make one up. If you got this part wrong and then you said, okay, well, if I pay it all together, it's whatever I put here times 33, you're going to get a mark. So if you can't do any of this in an exam and you know that what I pay altogether is going to be whatever this was going to be times by 33, then just make some number up. Just write 123.45 and times it by 33. You're going to get a mark. Yeah. Anyway, that is advanced mathematics. How exciting. That's, wow. That's kind of sad, isn't it? Like a year and a half of teaching and now I don't have anything more to teach you. You know just as much of the advanced content as I do, because we know the same amount, I think. Anyway, goodbye.